Isn't it weird when you just get overwhelmed sometimes? Things just coming in from all angles. Nothing necessarily too much, okay? Not one thing that pushes you over the edge. It's just an amalgamation of everything going on at the same time. And you just feel stressed. You just feel weighed down by the weight of the world, and you don't know exactly where all of this stuff is coming from. That apparently is an allostatic load. I've never heard of this term before prior to bringing up this article. That's why I wanted to share it with everybody. Are you stressed? Yes, sure. The word stress can be ambiguous in the functional medicinal world. Medical world. That's what that should be. The wear and tear on the body is referred to as allostatic load. This load is the sum total of all the stresses in our lives and their impact on the brain and the body. So this is one I've heard from before, and one that we talked about, I think, sometime this week. Whatever. Homeostasis and allostasis, sure, were intense areas of studies by neuroendocrinologist Bruce McEwen. He studied the environmental and psychological effects of stress in a couple of decades. In fact, he coined the term allostasis, a term used to describe the body's ability to remain stable amid stress. You may notice a similarity between the words allostasis and homeostasis, sort of, just the whole stasis thing, which is just the suspension of your body, as far as I can tell. At least it's my understanding of the word. The terms are analogous because they are intimately related to each other. Homeostasis, when the body is in a physiological state of balance. Allostasis describes the body's appropriate response to the challenge around us, either external or internal. One's an observation of the state, and the other one's the reaction to the state. All right. Homeostasis is achieved through the production of mediators such as adrenaline, cortisol, and other chemical messengers within the body. These mediators are involved in the body's response to stress and promote the body's ability to achieve normalcy after exposure to acute stressors. However, these mediators, adrenaline, cortisol, whatever other hormone gets released in your dome, also contribute to allostatic overload, the wear and tear on the body and the brain that result from being stressed out. It's important to understand the framework of allostatic load in order to understand the body's stress result, how to maneuver through stressful circumstances, and minimizing overactivity in the body stress response. Overactivity in the body stress response, or allostatic overload, results in many of the common diseases of our time. Becoming familiar with the idea of allostatic load, if I have to say that word again, I'm going to start allostaticing my fist through my face, can help conceptualize the protective as well as damaging effects on the brain and body's attempt to cope with the stressors when it comes in contact with it. Thank you. Jeez, that was repetitive. So, our body was designed with mechanisms to respond to stress. When we're exposed to some sort of stress, the amygdala portion of the brain initiates a response to prepare the brain and the body for danger by sending a distress signal to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus activates the sympathetic nervous system. Signals travel through the autonomic nerves to the adrenal glands. We're just running down the different aspects of the brain and how your body processes different stressors. The adrenals responds by releasing the hormone ephedrine, more colloquially referred to as adrenaline, into the bloodstream. As epinephrine circulates throughout the body, a number of physiological changes occur. The bodily responses may include: number 1, increased heart rate; number 2, increased blood pressure; number 3, increased breathing rate; number 4, increased blood sugar; number 5, increased insulin; number 6, cholesterol; dilated pupils; pale or flushed skin; muscle tension or trembling. So, you're entering the fight, flight, or freeze mode. I was going to say something else, but that's not it at all. So, constantly going through that throughout the day, multiple different ways, constantly getting hit with different stimulants within the body can activate what this researcher has dedicated his life to, this allostatic load. No, I'm not going to inflict self-harm. This is a different paragraph. In order to reduce the allostatic load or stressors on the body, we must know where they come from. It is important to understand that there are different types of stressors, including physical, emotional, spiritual, chemical, nutritional, and traumatic. The following can contribute to the allostatic load on the body: lack of sleep, poor diet, food sensitivities, toxin exposure, including heavy metals, chemicals, and mold, infections, nutrient deficiencies, overtraining, lack of exercise, so either doing too much or too little exercise, okay, depression and anxiety, unhealthy relationships, which could be a multitude of these things, emotional trauma, my feelings were hurt, adverse childhood experiences, ACEs, all right, lack of boundaries or margin in life. That is wildly broad, but all right. The results of allostatic load, increased systemic inflammation, not good. Increased risk of chronic disease, also not good. Immunosuppression, that's why you get, when you're under more stress in life, you get sick at an exponential rate. Strange. Accelerated aging, increased risk of anxiety and mood disorders, brain function dysregulation, obesity, increased risk of cardiovascular disease and stroke, and a loss of minerals from the body. That's weird how that would happen. Don't know. So reducing the allostatic load. Well, what can you do to not be so stressed out? How about that? Getting quality sleep. Thanks, tips. Eating a clean, nutrient-dense diet. Really? Exercise, but not enough. And not too little. Somewhere in the middle. Be good about it. Identifying and correcting nutrient deficiencies. Yep. Identifying and clearing infections. Stop getting sick, loser. Identifying and removing food sensitivities. Yes, just because it tastes good, okay, doesn't give you free license to make yourself sick over and over again. Also, of course, that's what you want, weirdo. Reducing toxins in your environment, including personal care and household cleaning products. All right, yeah. Yeah, different cleaning products like different body washes and different shampoos have very detrimental compounds in them, like parabens. That's just what immediately comes to mind. But if you find yourself getting an allergic reaction to certain different types of personal grooming products, stop using that. Even if it's cheap or not, you can always just switch to something different. Drinking clean water. Sorry, Flint. Taking part in regular mindfulness and or prayer, yet slowing down a little bit. How about that? Cultivating life-giving relationship and social support. Yes, stop being a hermit. How about that? Expressing gratitude and the gifts in your life and developing a sense of purpose. Sounds kind of hippy-dippy at the end, but yeah, if you start to look outward instead of just constantly focusing on what's wrong with your life, you might be able to solve a lot of problems and then just escape it for a minute, because yeah, eventually you're going to have to deal with it, but you don't have to constantly be in this self-fulfilling spiral of negativity on yourself. Maybe just reaching out and engaging with a different group might end up solving one of your problems. Just saying. If not corrected, allostatic load can transition to allostatic overload if the stressors become chronic. That means symptoms and illnesses can appear. In some circumstances, permanent damage can occur. It's important to note that everyone has different capacities for stressors in their life. While considering stress management, it's important to look at all the potential stressors on the body. At our functional medicine focused practice, this is the author talking, obviously. We help our patients identify factors that may contribute to their allostatic load, such as food sensitivities, leaky gut, environmental toxins, and mold exposure. Yes, so structural things that are around you that might be making you sick. Yeah, there's no amount of meditation and mindfulness that'll really fix, the black mold that's in your ceiling. You should probably have that checked out if you live in an older place with a leaky roof. Just because, you might be taking good care of yourself with proper exercise and diet. Nothing's overcoming the asbestos that might be in your walls, but just know that whatever discipline you look at, rather the more chemical dependent route, the more diet focused, the more exercise focused, or even just the more holistic approach to all this stuff, everybody has the same type of ideology in mind. Eat better, exercise more, and take proper care of your mental faculties, because doing so will pay off tremendously. I know, seems like a little bit of a vacuous message, but if every single legitimate practice keeps talking about it, you got to start listening at one point or another. But with that said, guys, enjoy the weekend. It's right here. If you have a Freedom Convoy-esque protest in your neighborhood going on, and you feel the need to go down there, it'll probably be good for your mindfulness, and it might help dissuade you from thinking that it's a negative uprising, because I can guarantee you it will be a very fulfilling enterprise to go down there and voice your support, because I can tell you what, these past 2 years have been a disaster for a lot of people. So as soon as we can get through this, sooner we can start to get better, and we can start having more of a laugh at some other things as well. But with that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.